Okay, everyone, thank you for coming this afternoon. Today, we are going to be learning about what I feel is a very undervalued and very underused tool that we all have access to, which is the Realtors Property Resource. So what this is a website and a variety of tools all in one package that anyone who is a member of the National Association of Realtors has access to, which is all of us with Berkshire Hathaway, since we have to be realtors to work for this company. In order to access this site, there are two different websites. There is rpr.com or narrpr.com, which you can see here at the top of my screen is the one that I've typed in. Either one will take you to the same website, right? So Realtors Property Resource is just the short name of it. So sometimes that's easier to remember. And then NARRPR just stands for National Association Realtors Real Property Resource. So they both are the same thing. They'll get you to the same place. What's important to note about this is because it's through the National Association of Realtors, this site gives you access to information on homes on a national level, okay? So that is the biggest difference between using this and using your local MLS. If you need to research listings, market data, a property, anything that's outside of your normal MLS area, this is the tool that you can use to do so. So it has public records nationally, as well as pulling information from MLSs and CIEs nationally. Okay, so that's probably the number one thing about this site. The other two things that I think make it stand out and that I use it for most frequently are it actually allows you to, from any property detail page, which I will show you, refine that property's value in a multitude of ways. So if you are doing a CMA for a client on their property and you're really having a hard time nailing down the price point, whether you don't have enough comps or they've made a lot of changes to the home and you're trying to figure out what value those changes will bring, the refine button allows you to either use a slider to compare it to the other comps. Is it better? Is it worse? It also allows you to enter certain types of home improvements and what your clients have spent on that home improvement, and it will add value right in front of your eyes. So you don't have to try to figure that out, okay? And then on the flip side of that, if it needs improvements, you can actually show your client. So let's say the house needs a new roof, and your client is trying to decide whether they want to list it with the existing roof, maybe as is, or whether they should shell out the money to replace the roof. You can use that refine value tool to enter a new roof and see how much value it adds, and then do the opposite and say the home needs a new roof and see how much value that detracts. And that's a quick and easy way to kind of show your clients, hey, I think you really, should do this project that we've been talking about before you list. The third thing that I think is fairly new and not a lot of people use this for, but it's great and it's easy, is it has a great tool on how to research potential geographical farms. So if you have several neighborhoods that you are considering as farming areas, or if you want to kind of get a quick update on what your current farms are doing, there is a way that you can come in here, quickly search that neighborhood and figure out what the turnover rate is. And that will tell you whether or not that specific neighborhood or area is going to be a good farm for you. So those are just really the top three things I think that this can be used for, but there is a lot more to this. So I'm going to give you kind of a general overview to start out with, and then I will show you, like the top three things that I just mentioned. So to get started, if you do not currently have a membership to this website, it's really easy to create an account. You would just go to one of the two URLs I told you, either rpr.com or narrpr.com. And because I'm already signed up, I can't show you. So I'm gonna play you just a real quick 2-minute video on how to create your account in case any of you don't have one yet.
Realtors Property Resource is one of the most innovative benefits included in your NAR membership, delivering on-the-go access to an all-encompassing real estate data platform available exclusively to realtors and offered at no additional cost. Creating an account on RPR is simple. Start by visiting narrpr.com. From the login page, choose Create a New Account. A window will open and you'll enter your last name and email address, or you can choose to enter your last name and NRDS ID. Select Next Step and RPR will alert you that an activation email is on its way. From the activation email, select Activate My Account. You'll be redirected back to the sign-up wizard in RPR with your information auto-populated. On the second step of the wizard, confirm your first and last name. Your email populates, which is your RPR username, and you can now create a password. For the next step, link your MLS or CIE information, which may also be auto-populated from your NRDS account. If you belong to more than one MLS or CIE, link the additional memberships so you can take full advantage of RPR and your MLS and CIE memberships. Choose your state from the dropdown, then choose your MLS or CIE and enter your agent ID. If you don't belong to an MLS or CIE, let us know here. Finally, once you finish, you have the option to print your username and password, or you can go directly to the RPR site. Update your profile here. And your last step is to download the RPR app to your iOS and/or Android devices. Simply go to Google Play or the App Store, search RPR Mobile, and download to your devices. Now you can access RPR anytime, anyplace. And be sure to subscribe to the
Okay, so pretty simple to get signed up. You used to have to know your NRDS number. Now you don't. You can just search by your full name and it will pull it up for you. You can add multiple MLS accounts. And something else of note, if any of you have a team or assistant who is not a licensed realtor, okay, so if you have, an administrative assistant who is not actually a realtor, RPR allows you to add assistants to your account. So you can actually enter their information as well. And so they will have access if you want them to be able to do some of this research for you. Okay, so that's kind of a cool thing. All right, so once you're logged in, you're going to be here. This is what the homepage looks like. And as they mentioned, in your upper right-hand corner is going to be access to your profile. So you will either see a photo or you will just see the first initial of your first name, but you will click that to get the drop down. And then you're going to click profile. And here is where you can upload your photo if you want your headshot on this, and you can generate loads of reports from this, which will include your photo. So that's a good thing to add. So you would just click upload photo, search from your computer, find your photo and upload it. You can then crop it however you want. Once you're done, you just hit OK. Right? Same thing if you have either a team logo or you want to add the brokerage logo, you can do that as well. The brokerage logo will show up on reports under your name since it knows which company you're registered with. But let's say, let me switch this to downloads. If you want to add a personal or a team logo, you can do that as well. There we go. All right, you're going to double check your contact information, make sure it's complete. You can see that my brokerage is filled in here, as is the office address that came up automatically. Make sure your mobile number is in here. Oh, that's just a placeholder, but if you have a fax number, you can enter that. Your main email address will be the one that you signed up with, but you can add additional email addresses if you choose to. And here's what I was talking about, where you can add an assistant if you want. And if you want to put your website, you can do that as well. There we go. Okay, then you're going to double check that your MLS information is correct. Mine is here. If you want your license number to show on those reports, you can add it in, but it's not required. You can create a new assistant user, like I mentioned right here. And then you can update your subscriptions and privacy right here. Over here, back up at the top on the right-hand side, that's where you would access your account information if you ever need to change your password. What time zone are you in? And it will tell you which devices are connected through that mobile app. Once you've made any changes that need to be made, you can come up to the top right and click Save. Okay, also under your profile in the upper right from the home page are your settings options. Okay, so this will help control what listings you're seeing under both residential and commercial, since it gives you access to both. So for new listings, and all this means when it says new is that it's going to change the color of the icon, right? So this doesn't limit what listings you're seeing to only the past 30 days. You're still seeing any active listings, but if it's within the past 30 days, it will have this orange new button. So if you only want that new icon, to show the last 10 days, last 7 days, whatever, you can drag this and change that option. Same thing with recently sold or leased, right? Commercial, etc. You could always reset it to the default, okay? You can also, in the upper right, choose to add market areas. You can also do this from the homepage, but if you have specific areas that you want to keep an eye on, that you are frequently searching, that you have a farm in, you can add those either by specific neighborhood or city and state or zip code. Okay, so you would just click that in here. Comes up, you click it, and now it's added to your markets, which will show on your home page. So once you've made any changes to your settings, again, upper right, click Save, and you're going to go back to your home page. Okay, so brief overview of what I'm looking at on the home page. Across the top is a static menu, and what that means is no matter where you are in RPR, this menu will always appear up at the top. You can always get back to your home page by clicking Home. If you click Research, this will tell you all of the different types of kind of data analysis or searches that you can do. So you can search by property, you can use a map to create a search, you can search by neighborhood, by school, you can create a residential market search, a commercial search, use the map for commercial properties, and then it has an informational video on how to do research. The marketing tab actually tells you different types of prospecting that you can do and a few different types of marketing materials that you can create. So if you want to prospect for residential clients, you can go here. Commercial, you can create a property flyer or a commercial property report. And then again, at the bottom, there's a video that will talk to you about marketing tips using this site. Next is reports, and it's going to tell you all of the different types of reports that you can create, which is quite a few. This very thing at the top, the report bell, I always leave this toggled on. And what that does is when you're creating a report, specifically something like a CMA, if it's got a lot of pages, it might take a few minutes to generate the final version. So you can actually click off of this website, go about your business, do whatever you want, and then a little bell will go off when that report is ready, and you'll see a little icon next to this reports tab that tells you it's ready. So you can create a CMA. You can do a property report, a seller's report, which is very similar to a CMA, a property flyer. You can do a short version of the property report. A valuation workbook is something that has a lot more information in it. There's a lot more data points that you can add. You would have to have first run a property report before you can do that. A market activity report, neighborhood, schools, you can do commercials. And then if you want to know what all the different reports are, you can watch this video that talks to you about picking the right report if you're not sure which one to use. Okay. Next up is their Learn tab. So this is fantastic, since after we get off, I'm sure you all are going to be very excited to learn what else this website can do, as I won't be able to cover everything. So you can click out to here. It's going to give you an overview of some of the most common and most recent things. And it also is going to show you a different selection here based upon what page within this website you are on. So for instance, right now we're on the home page or dashboard. So it's giving me basic information about what's on the home page. If you were on a property details page and you clicked learn, it would give you selections about the property details page. If you want to view everything that they have, you just go all the way to the bottom and click view more ways to learn. It's going to tell you you're leaving RPR, but don't worry, this window will stay open. It's going to open it in a new tab. So you just click leave. And here you go. So this is all of the learning that they have available to you. And you can search by learning type, by topics, by audience, skill level, how long is it? So you can really drill down if you want to see a list of webinars. And a webinar is one that you have to sign up for. They're at specific dates and times, and you have to register, but you can click webinars by date to see what's upcoming and join those. If you want a quicker version to see pre-recorded videos, then you would check off tutorial, and then to the right, all of the tutorial videos are going to show up. So for instance, this one that says basics and beyond for residential is where I went to show you how to create your account. So this one, if you click here, is actually a collection of a bunch of short videos, all here on the right. They're all under 10 minutes long that you can go through to get a basic overview of everything that this site can do. Okay, so back to our homepage. All right, so across the top of the homepage, you're also going to see these shortcuts. And these are actually little mini step-by-step tutorials that will walk you through doing one of these tasks. So if you want to learn how to prospect, you would click here. And these little purple boxes are going to pop up and literally walk you through step by step. You just choose, you want buyers or sellers, you click sellers. It's going to take you to the next step. So you just follow along, do what it tells you to do, and it can actually walk you through. And you don't have to remember every step from watching the video. So you can learn how to prospect, you can learn how to search using the map, you can learn how to create any of the different reports, you can learn how to create an investor analysis report, you can learn how to target opportunity zones, how to create a CMA, or you can take a general tour of the homepage. Below that, you're going to see My Markets, which I briefly mentioned in the account setup portion. But right next to this, next to all of these, actually, you'll see this little 3-dot menu. If your homepage is too cluttered and you don't want to see this, you can close it up by clicking collapse card, right? So now my shortcuts are hidden. Right now my markets are hidden, but if I want to see them again, I click the 3 dots, I click expand card, And now I have a list of my markets here on the left, as well as a map displaying what that market area is. It will always default to whatever the last market area you were researching is, but the list will be down here below, right? So if I want to close up Clayton, I just click and then I can go down and click on Mullica Hill, and it will take me over to Mullica Hill instead. Okay. Right from here is another place where you can actually add additional market areas if you want to, or you can edit and remove market areas that you're not interested in anymore. Okay, I'm going to close that up again. All right. Next to that, or below that, I should say, below your markets are going to be your listings. So if you have any current listings or previous listings, they will show up here. You can click list date to sort them. Next to that is my properties. So if you have saved any by clicking on the heart, they'll show up here. Any that you have recently looked at, you can click here and it will give you, here's my list of recent properties that I've looked at. Any reports that you've generated, you can view, but it does tell you that they are only here for the last 30 days, right? So if it's been more than 30 days, you probably won't be able to access those. And then if you've taken any notes on any properties or searches, you can view your notes here. To the right are my searches. So again, if you've run a search and saved it, it would show up under saved searches. But even if you don't save it, it will track the most recent searches that you have done. So even if you forget to save a search, you can still come back to it by toggling over to recent and you'll see them there. Okay, below that, it invites you to join the Facebook group. You can get help anywhere, anytime. And then the on-demand or tutorials and webinars that I showed you, you can also access those here. Okay, so that is an overview of what the homepage consists of. So now I actually want to jump into showing you how to do a search. So that is this bar across the top here. Now, there is a toggle on the left-hand side. So you want to make sure that you are either on residential or commercial, depending on what type of property you're looking for. In this main box, you can enter an address, a geographical area, such as a neighborhood, a tax ID number, or a listing ID number, if you know a specific property. Then it's going to ask you the status, right? So you can change this. Do you want to just look at for sales? Do you want to just look at for lease? Do you want to look at both? Or are you actually looking for something that's off the market, in which case you want to change it to the public records? Okay. If you are selecting for sale, then you can select the different types of properties, whether it's active, under contract, pending, temporarily off market, closed, canceled, or expired. With each of these, you will see a little calendar next to it. So let me uncheck these. So let's say I want to look at for sale properties that are active within the last 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, etc. Or you can create a custom date range. So if I just want to see what's come on the market in the past week, I would click custom date range. I would say from the 15th to the 21st, and I would apply that as my filter and it would show up here. Okay. Next thing is what property type. So you can search by all, or you can select, I only want to see single family, or I only want to see farms or ranches, whatever the case might be. This will all look very familiar because it's similar to doing an MLS search. And then if you want to, you can also narrow it down right from the beginning by price, beds, and baths. So it depends on whether you're doing a specific search, like for a CMA, or if you're doing a more general search just for research purposes, how much of this information that you want to put in. And then at the very end of this bar across the top, you'll see this little icon. It kind of looks like a funnel. So these are additional filters that will bring you to some more advanced search options, okay? So it has the general ones at the top that we just covered. But then you have some additional, right? So you have price to estimated value. You can add in square footage. You can either include or exclude distressed properties, because RPR will also show you on any general search any distressed properties that are in the area. So if you do not want to see those, you can either exclude all, you can exclude short sales, foreclosures that have not gone to auction yet or already foreclosed bank owned. And then if you do, you can also, put in dates for that exclusion if you would like. You can search for homes that have open houses by just clicking that. You can search land by usage. So if you're looking, instead of single family homes, if you're looking at lots or lands, you can actually limit that what you're seeing by the usage allowed for that lot or land. And then you can choose under miscellaneous fields, occupancy type. So when this comes into handy is when you're researching a specific area, let's say a farm, and you want to make sure that you're only looking at homes where the owner is the occupant, right? So that way you're not mailing something to, a property that's leased and the owner lives somewhere else. Okay, so that's an important one sometimes. There are keyword searches, so you can enter any keywords here that you want to make sure are included. You can also do the time owned, right? So if you're prospecting for a seller, right? So let's say that's the type of search we're running. You would want to make sure you're checking owner occupied, and then you probably would want to click time owned to 5 to 10 and 10 to 15 years. And you can select more than one option, right? So that's why all of these are here. You're not going to use all of these for every type of search, but there's options for any type of search that you're running. So once you're done with your filters, you would hit apply. If you have too many and your search results at the top show up as 0, you can reset and try again. But if you've made any changes, you would just click the update and search orange button, and then you would get your results. Okay, so let's try one, just an example. So I'll just do one of my most recent ones. So we're going to do Clayton. Right, so I'm seeing 176 properties. That's a lot, right? So it depends on what, how general of a search that you're doing. So now if I want, I can come down and limit this. So right now I'm looking at for sale and closed, but if I just want to look at closed, I would click, I'm sorry, if I just want to look at closed, right? I can do this. And then you always want to include public records sold. So again, that's another benefit. It doesn't just have to be in an MLS. If it was off market, but it's been recorded at the municipal level, it will include those as well if you check this box. I'm looking at single family. I'm going to say I only want to look at 3 to 5 bedrooms to try and narrow this down a little bit. I do not want to look at distressed properties. And I'm going to come back up to the top and click update and search. You can see I'm down to 112, right? So it's always going to update your count on how many results you're getting. So you can continue to drill down before you click update and search, right? So let's say I want to do this. Now I'm only down to 5, right? So I would click update and search. And here are my results. So you can either in the upper right look in list view, which is what I am currently on. You can change to a photo grid view, which looks like this, or you can change to a map view, and it will show you where those properties are on the map. Okay, if you want to save any of these, here's your little heart to the right, and then they would show up in your saved properties on your homepage. Gives you the general information across here. You can actually sort it by any one of these headings. So right now it's sorting by estimated value compared to the price. But if I want to sort by date, I can click date. If I want to sort by type or status, I can do that. Any one of these that I want to get more information on, I can just click on it. Okay, so once I'm on the property details page across the top, I can look at the summary. I can look at the history, which is similar to the public records tab in the MLS. It's going to give me all of the mortgage history, tax history, sales history, etc. So you can see sales and financing activity over all years, the past year, 1 or 2 or 3 years. Prior sale transactions, I can either look at public records or listing records. So if I'm interested in who sold this most recently, I would click listing records. It's going to give me the listing ID number, how much is sold for, the date, the office of the selling agent and the listing agent. Okay. You want to take any notes on the property, it gives you that option over here as well. And then to the right, you're going to see a bunch of data on the zip code overall. So median estimated home values, what the 12-month change has been in that, median listing sales price, listing price, and the 12-month change in listing price, median days in RPR, meaning listed actively, and the median 12-month change and how many, right? And then it's going to compare it to, so you're going to see your zip code, but then you're also going to see your county and the state overall. If you want to learn more about the area you're looking at, you can actually click more about this neighborhood at the bottom, and it will take you to a bunch of additional data about that specific zip code. Or if you were searching a specific neighborhood, it would take you to that specific neighborhood. Okay, so that's under history on a property page. Here's the refined value I was talking about, right? So on a property page, right? So I'll go back to the summary because this is what it would look like. So let's say this is a home that I'm researching to possibly list, but I'm having some, you know what? Hold on one second. I'm actually going to use my home since I recently did a bunch of upgrades. You'll see exactly how it works. So I went back to the home page. I'm going to search for my specific address. Please don't call me asking to list my house. And I'm going to change this to public records. And I'm going to clear this. Okay. I'm going to click the orange button to search. Okay, so even though this is not an active listing, I still get the same information. It just obviously doesn't have any photos of the house since it's not an active listing and has not been listed recently. If it was, you could go to the history section, pull up the most recent listing and view the photos there. But what I want to show you is the refined value, right? So right now it's telling me, if I scroll down under property summary, it's giving me an RVM, right? So you probably have all heard the term AVM, which means automated valuation model. And what that means is that it is a computer algorithm that is estimating that home's value. The RVM is a different animal. It is the Realtor's property resource valuation model, and it actually takes into account multiple automated valuation models. So if you're on Zillow, you're getting the Zestimate that is created using their own single AVM. RPR actually will take theirs plus a bunch of other ones, give you a median of what all of those say. Okay, and then if you had run a CMA on it, it would show up here. Since I have run a CMA on it in the past, it's showing me that value. But if you have not already run a CMA on the property, you won't see that. It's going to give me the basic facts. And then down here, right, it's telling me more information on that valuation model. So it's actually giving me a range of 351 to 438. So this is just the median that it popped out up here. And then it's giving me a confidence score of 1 to 5. So more stars equals more better. You know, sorry for the improper English, but that's just how I remember it. And what that is telling you is that they had enough data points. They were able to pull actual listing information from nearby active properties to compare it to what this property looks like, which automated valuation models don't do. They just do a locality search. They don't actually compare like to like. So this does that. And it was able to find multiple automated valuations from different sources that all were close to each other. So each one of those things is going to give you a star. Okay. If there was a fifth star, it would be because it had sold recently and they know the actual value, right? You can see the year change, so it's up 15%. You can see the monthly change. So I've actually gained about $7,500 in the last month, which is fantastic. And then there's a quick link to a great article on how you can use this RVM when you're talking to your client about pricing their home. It's going to give you when it last sold. Now, below that, you can also double check your property facts. So if this is missing any information, you can make the changes on the right, okay? So right now, this is saying it is a 3-bedroom house, but it is not. It is a 5-bedroom house. It is 2 bathrooms, both are full bathrooms. It has the living area is 1,500 square feet. It's actually not. It's probably closer. Let's call it 2,500. My lot size, yes, it has a garage. It has 2 garage spaces. That's correct. Yes, it has a pool. Okay, so if you've made any changes here that would alter the value, such as bedrooms, which definitely does, you want to click save. And then you would come back up. And we're going to hit refine value now. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make any changes about the property facts that you need to. And the next step now is that we can refine the value. So I'm going to click refine value. Okay, so same thing. You can adjust the basic facts here and then click apply, and it will tell you how much of a change you get. So I'm going to click apply. And then below that is where I was mentioning you can either refine the value by what home improvements have been done or what home improvements need to be done. Okay, so you can't enter just anything here. There is a drop down and it has to be on this list. So that's kind of a bummer, but I guess there's no way to include, that much standardized data, but the big ones are here, right? So if I did a roofing replacement with asphalt shingles, I did it in October of 2021. And it cost me, let's say, $7,500. I would add that. And now I've gained a value of $4,032. Okay. You can do the flip, right? We'll get rid of this. We'll come down to needed improvement category. And we can say they need a new roof. The total cost of the new roof would be $7,500. We'll add that and it's going to subtract that. Okay. So they can see of that 7,500 on the flip side, they're going to get 4,000, whatever it was. Let's go back. Depending again on when they do it, you would put in, if they're doing it right now, you would put in, right? We're in May 2022. Okay, so it would cost $7,500, and of that $7,500, they would retain $4,320 as far as sales price. Okay, so I do this a lot when I'm dealing with the house that has not sold for a long time, but they've made a ton of improvements. So I added the roof. Let's say I also did siding replacement. That was in, when the heck was that? I don't even remember. Let's just go with the same thing. That actually cost $32,000. We're going to add that. Let's see what else is in here. You can do bathroom remodels or additions, deck additions, entry door replacement, garage door replacement, kitchen remodels, master suite or remodels or additions, roofing, siding, window, and then it does give you an option for other. So we can say exterior upgrade gutters. Okay, it was, again, we'll say October 2021, and that was 3,200. We can add that. Okay, so that's a great way that you can show a client that the improvements they've made, while they don't necessarily get, nobody gets 100% return on investment, right? But it will give them an estimated value that they are retaining. And it will go ahead and change your refined value over here, so that when you're generating a report or a CMA, it's going to show that even though the initial one was saying 394, the changes they have done have gotten them an extra 29,900. So now you can price the house at 424,380. Okay. Any questions on the refined value? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions on anything I've covered so far, but I want to make sure you guys know how to use this, since it's one of the best tools. Nope. Okay, moving on. So still on the property details page, right? I was on refined value. Now I'm going to click over to CMA. And this is how you can build a comp. So you can either do it from the reports up here, you can start a CMA, or you can look up the subject property first, make all the needed adjustments, and then click on CMA from the property and start building it. So they have two options. They have a comp analysis or a sales comparison analysis, which is slightly more detailed. If you want to know what the difference is, you just click this and you can watch a little video on it.
The sales comparison analysis feature is...
Oop, I'm not going to play that right now, but you can do that when you want. So for right now, I'm going to do a comp analysis. I've already done step one, which is to verify or update the information on the home. Next thing I'm going to do is search for comps. Now, since I had previously run a search, it's showing me information here already. If you had not previously run a search, there would just be a blue search button and it would take you. So I'm actually going to click edit so I can show you what that would look like. All right, so when you click search for comps, this is what you're going to get. All right, so you get the property summary across the top. If you have already known comps that you want to use, you can click add a known property and then list them by MLS number or address. In this case, I haven't looked yet, so I don't have any specific properties in mind. So I'm going to stick with search an area. So it's going to show you a map. Here is my subject property. You can zoom in or zoom out if you choose to. And then you can limit by property type. So I only want to look at single families. Property status for this, I actually only want to look at closed. I want to exclude distressed homes. I want to look at off-market date within the last 6 months. For beds, I want to look at, let's say, 4 to 5 bedrooms. For bathrooms, I want to look at 2 to 3 bedrooms. I'm going to take off the square footage. I don't want to limit it to a price range. I don't want to limit it by year built. And if I want to make sure all of the homes I'm looking at also have pools, I can add that as a keyword. Okay, so once I've entered all my search parameters, I'm going to click search. Oh, and there were no matching properties. So let's come on the map and I think we're zoomed in, so we're going to zoom out. Okay. Let's clear this, search. All right, there we go. That gets us probably too many, right? So now that we have some showing up, I can zoom back in on the map, right? Because I want to focus on South Harrison, not Harrison. There we go. All right, so now once I have that situated, I can come down here and this is going to give me the list of the comps. Okay. Now, any that you see a little blue star next to, that means that that comp was also used when they were creating their valuation, their RVM. Doesn't mean it's weighed any more heavily than any of the other ones. It's just letting you know, hey, we already used this one when we were calculating our opinion. You have basic details about it. You can click on any of them to expand it and look to see if it really is a comp or not, if you want more information. And then once you go through, you can click off the ones to the right that you want to use. So let's say I want to use this one. I want to use this one. I want to use this one. All right, you guys get the idea, right? So you can just go through, select whichever ones you want. Let's throw that one on there too, why not? Okay. Oops, sorry, not trying to give you. It's still showing me all 100 and something. I don't know why it's not showing me the limited ones, but whoop, there we go. All right. So now I have the ones that I want. Where's my save button? Do I have to go all the way down? There we go, all the way down. So I had to go through all 100 something. Now I'm going to click update valuation and close to include the ones I selected as my comps. Right, and then it's going to the next step, right? So I've completed search for comps. Now I can adjust my comps if I want to. So I can change the order that the 6 comps are shown just by clicking here. You can enter notes on any of them if you want to. And any adjustments that you make, like if there was a seller's concession you want to add, will be made here. And you would, if you do make changes, you would click update valuation and close. And then finally, you're going to create your report. Oh, well, before we get to that, actually, the next step is to review the comp analysis, right? So here are their results. They're picking the median of the range that they're creating. So they're telling you the median price of this range is $493,300 or $197 per square foot. Now, if that's not what you want this to say, again, you can just click edit. You can enter your own value or a price range. And then you would click save. And it would then on the report display the information, excuse me, that you want it to say. You would create report. You're going to pick what type of report. So a CMA, we're doing a seller's report, right? You can personalize it by entering their name and a little note. Choose how you want to deliver it over here. I don't need the webinar, thank you. On the right-hand side, it's telling me what's included on the cover page, right? So this is what the cover page looks like. What elements do I want to include? I can uncheck any of these if I choose to. I can actually add custom pages to this as well. So just like Moxie, you can upload and add PDFs. You can do the same thing here. So if you have a saved PDF of some testimonials or your marketing plan of action or your resume, you can actually add that to this report. Okay, you're going to click run report. And it's going to generate it. So here's where that bell is going to come in handy because this is going to take a while. And when it's done, it's going to show up here. So right now you just see it's in orange, meaning it's still running. When it's done, I'll have a little bell. I can come back in, view my report, and then send it when I am ready. Okay. So that was just showing you a CMA report, but it's very similar to run any of these different types of reports. Okay. And I did a search using the search bar, but you can also do a search using the map, which is really integrated and has a ton of options. So you can drill down even further. So obviously you can zoom in or zoom out, just like on any other map. You can expand it to be your full screen if you're having trouble seeing it. You can change the type of view. So right now I'm on the road view, but I can look at satellite. I can look at aerial. I can look at terrain. Okay, so you can look at any of these. You can draw on this map, either freehand. Let me go back to road view so it's easier. Okay, so next down is draw. So I can draw freehand. So if I only want to look, you know, on this side of this road, you just click, hold down, move your mouse around. And as soon as you connect it, it will highlight that area. And then you would click search in this area and it would only show you homes in there. Okay. You could also draw just with the radius. So you can drop a pin and pull out. You can do a polygon. So what that is, let me move the map over here. So if I want to do a polygon, rather than freehanding, it still allows you to do, like, let's say I want to go from, I would click the next spot, click the next spot here. So you can basically make any shape without having it to do freehand. So that's that. Or you can do a box, which is basically the same as a radius, just a different shape. You can also search by driving, which is great when you're doing a search, let's say for your buyers, right? So instead of doing a CMA, let's say we're looking for properties for our buyer, you can search by travel time. So, oh, look, my report is ready. Thanks. All right, so you can enter an address that you want to know the drive time from, or you can grab this little sucker right here and you can drop it. Let me move the map. So I drop it right there, click next. And then it will, let me move the map down so you can see. You can put in how you're traveling, what time of day, day of week, and how far do you want to travel, right? Click next. And then it's going to actually create, here's my custom area of homes that are within 10 minutes of whatever address I put in, right? So if they want to be within 10 minutes of their kid's school, within 10 minutes of their job, whatever the case might be, you can create a custom search area that easily. Also, let me clear this, delete. Also under driving, you can do a distance, right? So same thing. You can move the pin to where you want to center your distance or enter an exact address. So we'll do 902. Lincoln Road. Next. And how many miles do I want to go? Let's say within 25 miles. Next. Now that's my search area, which is massive, but it gives you an idea. Okay. Also under driving, something I don't really use, but they also give you traffic counts. So if somebody happens to ask you how bad traffic is in a particular area, you can actually pull up that information, right? So I need to go back to my map and zoom back in. To where we were looking at before. There we go. So under driving, you can do traffic counts and you can choose what type of traffic count you want to look at, right? So if you want to see if it's super busy, you would check there and apply it, and it's not, so you don't have to worry about it, right? So just an extra one you probably haven't seen on other maps. Under that are POIs, which are points of interest. So you can actually click that. It's going to give you options on whether you want the basics, entertainment, or specifically for seniors, by account, by community, or by business, right? So if someone wants to know, or if you're printing out a report and you want to show them where the nearest daycare is, where the nearest police station is, are there any restaurants and bars, what churches are in the area, you can check off, you know, any of these options that you want to be able to show them. Same things with types of business. And then you would click apply and it would drop those on the map, and any one of them are clickable. So if I click on that, it's showing me that that's a vet's office. If I click on that, it's telling me that's a music store. You get the idea. All right, so that's really cool. And you're not just printing these, you can actually send these via email. So it would be interactive for your client as well. You can search by school. So if I want to search by public schools in the area, let me take this off. Cancel. There we go. Nope, still on. Clear. There we go. All right. So schools, public, and whether you want to search by elementary, middle, or high. So let's say elementary. I would apply that. And all the schools in the area are going to pop up with a little graduation cap. You can click on that, and then you can click search this area, and you will only be looking at homes within that school's district. You can then right from there create a school report, which will tell them all about that school, or you can create a market activity report for that area. If you, any of these that we've just done also is going to have a save area option, right? So if you want to save this school district as something you're going to come back and look at, I can click save area. You're going to name it whatever you want, click save. And now on my map, anytime I do a map search, I can click used saved areas and they'll be up there. So if you want to constantly be able to come back to the same area that you've searched, whether it's a school district or a specific neighborhood that you've outlined on the map, save it, and then anytime you're on a map, you can come up here and use it. And then also on the map under show geographies, you can search all these different ways on the map. So by cities, census, opportunity zones, you can search by neighborhood, whether it's macro, medium, minor, or micro, school districts, and then by grade as well. So the map is super interactive and sometimes easier to create a search on that, depending on what type you're doing, rather than using this search bar at the top. So if you want to skip this search bar and go straight to the map, again, you just click research, map search, and you're good to go. So while we're on map search, I want to show you quickly, I know we're running a little late, but I want to show you quickly how you can look at some farming information. Okay, so that is actually done, generally speaking, with the map search. But let me clear all of this. And I want to actually go to, let's go to, I'll just put in the zip code 08312. All right, so I'm just going to do, let's say I want to look in Clayton. All right, it's pulling up the one I've already done, but let's go back. Let's remove the boundary. All right, sweet. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take this off. All right. So if I'm in Clayton, oops, I want to go in, not out. There we go. All right. So if I'm in Clayton and I want to search for a specific neighborhood that I want to farm, I would go to show geographies and let's look at micro neighborhoods. I'm going to click here. It's now going to outline in orange a bunch of different neighborhoods. So let's say this is the one that I'm considering farming. I would click it to highlight it in orange. And now, again, I can save this if I want to, so it always shows up over here. So I can click save area. This is Academy Walk neighborhood, save it. Now I'll be able to get back to it easily up here. And at the top, oh wait, let me clear this. Why is it showing me so many? I guess because my map is too big. It should only be showing me these. Oh no, I know why. All right, so now we're gonna drill down here, right? So we're gonna go, if we're considering it as a farm, we wanna make sure we're looking at public records, okay? We probably only wanna do single family if that's the type of neighborhood this is. And then I'm gonna go to my filters, and this is where that owner occupancy, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, we can include that if we want to. All right, still showing me too many. It should only be showing me these. I don't know what's going on. Sorry guys, bear with me real quick here. I just want to start from scratch. All right, so let's do 08062. I think it was still saving my last Clayton search, so let's start a new one. All right, so now I'm in Mullica Hill. It is showing me the geographical boundary of that entire zip code, but I want to go to neighborhoods. Okay, so I can zoom back out a little bit, move the map around, find a neighborhood that I want. Let's say this is the one that I want. I'm going to click in it to highlight it orange, and I'm going to click search in this area. So now it's just showing me this neighborhood. At the top, it's telling me that there's 45 properties. And again, you do want to make sure you're on public record, because the first piece of information we want when we're trying to figure out turnover rate is how many properties are in that neighborhood total. So you would make a note somewhere that there are 45 properties. The other thing you can do is you can use, did I save it? Hold on. You can use a CSV file, and you can actually create a spreadsheet where you dump in the information and it calculates it for you. But let's say I'm just going to jot down there's 45 total homes. Okay. The next piece of information I need to know is how many homes have sold in this neighborhood within the past year. So now I'm going to come back up to the top. I'm going to change it. Instead of public record, now I want to look at for sale. I want to look at closed. I want to include public record solds. I want to click the calendar next to close, the little icon. And I want to look at the last year. And I'm going to click apply. I'm going to click back in my area and now click search. So it does the new search parameters. And I can see now that only one property has sold, right? So then you would divide 1 by 45 and you would get a pretty low turnover rate. So maybe this isn't the best neighborhood per se. So generally speaking, when you're talking about turnover rates in a farm, you want 7% or higher. That's what you're looking for. And you're going to take the total number of homes divided by the homes sold to figure that out. Now, the really cool thing about RPR is if you go to their learning section, which I showed you, and you scroll down under tutorials, right? So on the left-hand side, I'm going to click tutorial. I'm going to come down, see where it says building a geographical farm. click here. You can watch a video on what I just showed you if you need a refresher. But below that, right here, you can actually get a copy of their farming worksheet where all you have to do is plug in the numbers and you don't have to do the math yourself. So you would click farming worksheet. It takes you to this. Right in bright yellow, it says, don't start typing in numbers here. Make a copy. Okay, so you're going to go to File in the upper left of the sheet. You're going to select Make a Copy. You're going to name it, whatever farm you're talking about, because you can do this over and over. You can make a copy for each new farm if you want. So Mullica Hill Farms that I'm considering, I'm going to save it in my drive under my Fox and Roach email address, and I'm going to click Make a Copy. Now it's going to open up that copy, right? So you can put in, if there's multiple neighborhoods you're considering, you can name each one across the top. So you would say, I'm looking at these 4 neighborhoods, all in Mullica Hill, and I'm trying to decide which one's the best one. I would enter the total number of homes on this one was 45. Homes sold in the last 12 months was only 1. It's now going to calculate that turnover rate for me at 2.2%. That is not high enough to make that a worthwhile farm. Right? But let's say the second neighborhood I was looking at had 176 homes and 45 had sold. Now I've got a 25%. That's really high. Generally, you're looking at 7 to 12% is like the sweet spot. If it's too high, that might indicate a potential issue, right? But you get the idea. You guys can all go find this worksheet, make a copy of it, save it to your drive, and that way you don't have to do the math yourself. You can just plug this in. Okay. It also has some additional information it's prompting you that might be helpful to you. So when you are getting your list of homes, right? So let's go back to, right? There's only one to look at here, but let's say there was multiple. You would click on your list here to see the actual homes. And then if there's multiple, you would check all. Then you can open it up and you can look at some of that other information, such as how long was it on the market and who sold it, right? And if you had multiple properties, they would show up. You could just click next and you can go one to the next to the next. And you could fill that in on this chart, right? So what is the average days on the market in that neighborhood? Is there an agent that has sold a bunch of properties in that neighborhood? Because if so, probably not worth farming it. They've already got it. And then you could also, if you want to, record the median listing price and sales price. All right. So I was able to cover the 3 main things I wanted to show you guys. By no means does that cover everything that you can do with RPR. I just wanted to try and touch on some of the things you might not be aware of that you can do. So by all means, set up an account for yourself, come in here, and then go to the Learning Center here at the top and watch some of their tutorials, sign up for some of their webinars, because it really does give you a whole lot of tools that you cannot find easily anywhere else. This packages it all into one spot. And again, remember, you can search anywhere. It does not even have to be in your MLS area. So if a friend from out of state calls you up and says, hey, can you give me just a general idea of what my home is worth? You can actually go ahead and use this to do that for them. All right, so I've stopped sharing. Let me hop on with you guys and see if anybody has any questions about what we covered today.
Corey, you did a great job. Just letting you know, you did a great job teaching us. I used to do RPR teaching when it first came out. So rusty as I am, I just decided to try and get on this early and watch. But I was on a conference call, so I couldn't get on right away. So you're recording it. Will that be uploaded where, in ACE?
It'll be, nope, it'll be on my YouTube channel. which I'll share out to
Okay.
everyone. So if you don't already have that bookmarked, I'll make sure I email it to everybody. You can bookmark it and you can subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll get an update anytime a new video is posted.
Perfect.
All of my classes are recorded and then listed there. Generally speaking, it takes a day or two because it has to process before it'll show up. But yeah, it'll be there. And even if you have uses for all of you, even if you have used RPR in the past, they've made a lot of changes recently. The whole layout is different. They've added even more tools. So even if you think you know what it does, you should still go in, and poke around and learn. Like I said, this was a very limited kind of viewpoint of it because I just couldn't. I mean, I could teach you RPR for 3 hours straight, which I don't think anybody wants to do. So I'm trying to keep it short and sweet and focus on the things I think are the most valuable. Anybody else with a question on what we covered today?
Corey, is there a list in RPR of improvements and the percentage that it gives value?
So there is no automatically generated list, because people don't generally record that information. But what part of what I showed is you can go in and create that list. And if you know what type of project it was, when it was done, at least approximately, right? And approximately how much they spent on it, it will generate a value for it.
Okay.
Ellen, that's what I was talking about in
Yes.
SRES the other day.
Right. So if you
she showed that about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. So if you go like super quick,
I did see it.
Oh, you
I
did?
just didn't know if there was a demo list. I've seen, where, putting a front door on gives you pretty much 100% back.
Yeah. So it has the most popular upgrades that you get the biggest ROIs on. That's how it has that drop down list. So it doesn't include everything. So you would then just have to use that other option, if it's something outside of the scope of what they automatically calculate for you. I think it was just too much data to try to put every possible thing there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
One of the things too, Corey, I think that everybody should realize, and I was touting this as mentioned when Ellen came on in the SRES the other day, I mentioned RPRs that many people should be using that aren't using it. But especially in our brand with Berkshire, so many agents, and you want to be different and you want to, make yourself stand out. RPR could be the factor that does that because not all agents are taking the time to learn how to do it.
Exactly. And people always ask me too, like, how do you get information on schools for a client? You can generate an entire report on a school from RPR. Their neighborhood reports are great. Let's say you do relocations and you have a client who's considering multiple areas and you want to help them narrow it down. Go ahead and do reports on, a couple of the neighborhoods to present to them and have them narrow down what they're interested in. So, I mean, I could sit here and think of so many more ways that you can use it, but like you said, Connie, not everyone does, right? So if you took the time to show up today, you're ahead of the game and you can start including some of these reports. You can add them into your listing presentations. You can send them just as like an update to someone from the past if you want to give them an update on their property. Again, you can reach out and say, hey, Joe, I know you've been thinking about moving, from Mullica Hill to Clayton or whatever the case might be. Generate a report on both of those two places and show, that his property value would be more here than here, or maybe there's more things for him to do here, whatever. There's a million ways that you can use this. All right. Any other questions? I want all of you to go look at your farms, see how they're doing. If you currently have one, go stick them in, see what your turnover rate is doing, because a lot of those have changed. I was talking to an agent yesterday who said her farm that's done her fantastic for years has done nothing for her. And I was like, well, go in and see what the turnover rate is like, because either people are calling someone else or it's just now everybody that's going to sell is sold and you need to move on to a new farm. So if that's the only thing you get out of this is how to find a good farm, that'll make me happy. That's the main thing. All right, guys. Well, I will let you all go. Thanks for hanging in there a little bit longer. I will let you all know when this recording is up.
Don't forget to put that in the chat or wherever you're going to put it. Your YouTube.
Put what?
The YouTube channel, you're gonna email.
Oh, I mean, I
Email it
can
to
give
us,
you
you
the
said?
link now. Yeah, I can drop, I was gonna email it to everybody, but if you want, I'll just drop it in the chat right now so you guys have it.
Perfect.
Yep, give me a
Thanks.
second. I have to actually stop recording before I can.